Today, my name is David Gino, and in today's book review, I've got a good book, and the book that I have is, I would say it's different, but it's viewed by somebody, forwarded by somebody, and it's written by somebody. Is Tim Ferriss, the guy who wrote the 4-Hour Workweek, which is another book I reviewed on this channel. And if I do sound groggy, I am sorry. I've just been tired, and I've had a long day. I'm filming this at 9 o'clock tonight, and I'm gonna try to edit the whole thing, but we'll see how that goes. But we're gonna dive into the book here. Look, the book I have for us today is the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. So I'm sorry, but Naval Ravikant is another author, is an entrepreneur, philosopher, and investor who's captivated the world with his principles for building wealth and creating long-term happiness. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant is a collection of Naval's wisdom and experiences from the last 10 years, shared as a curation of the most insightful interviews and poignant reflections. This isn't a how-to book or step-by-step gimmick. Instead, through Naval's own words, you will learn how to walk your own unique path toward a happier, wealthier life. So yeah, that is the book, and it's written by Eric Georgeson. It is about Naval Ravikant, and it was forwarded by Tim Ferriss. So, lots of names. But we're going to dive into the book here. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about some interesting things today, and we're going to talk about knowledge and skills. So listen to what the author has to say about sales. Just listen to this. Sales skills are a form of specific knowledge. There's no such thing as a natural in sales. You run into them all the time in startups and venture capital. When you meet someone who is a natural at sales, you just know they're amazing. They're really good at what they do. That is a form of specific knowledge. Obviously, they learned somewhere, but they didn't learn it in a classroom setting. They learned probably in their childhood in the schoolyard, or they learned negotiating with their parents. Maybe some is a genetic component in the DNA, but you can improve sales skills. You can read Robert Cialdini, you can go to a sales training seminar, you can do door-to-door sales. It is brutal, but it will train you very quickly. You can definitely improve your sales skills. Specific knowledge cannot be taught, but it can be learned. When I talked about specific knowledge, I mean figure out what you were doing as a kid or teenager almost effortlessly. Something you didn't even consider a skill, but people around you noticed. Your mother or your best friend growing up would know. So, what you like about that is, when it comes to skills or even talents sometimes, a lot of it is just specific knowledge that people have learned over many years. So it's like working out and powerlifting. Yes, they're very strong, and yes, maybe some genetics, performance-enhancing supplements may help, but it's the knowledge of how to do the movement and how to do a lift in the strongest way. So, there's no such thing as a natural either. I mean, some people are naturally strong in the powerlifting world. I mean, if you can bench 225 and have never worked out a day in your life, I think that's pretty strong. But there's not really a natural in anything. And if you think about it, it is some stuff you do growing up as a kid and going through your teenage years. And like with working out, I worked out as a kid, not super seriously. I originally didn't want to work out. My father forced me to. And then during my teenage years in middle school, I worked out 3 times a week and was just learning as I was watching my dad and I work out. Then when I graduated high school, I did a powerlifting meet. And here we are, I'm working out 4 to 5 times a week, doing powerlifting competitions, and I'm the best that I've ever looked. So that's how you gotta think about it. Sales is a form of specific knowledge. It's not a skill, it's a form of knowledge. And like it says here, examples of specific knowledge could be love for science fiction, musical talents, sales skills, gossiping, playing lots of games. The specific knowledge is sort of this weird combination of unique traits from your DNA, your unique upbringing and your response to it. I like that right there. It's your unique upbringing and your unique response to it. It almost baked into your personality and your identity, then you can hone it. So think about that. Now the second part of this book that we have is about being rewarded. Now being rewarded has a lot of different different views and different connotations to it. So for example, when you get hired, that is a reward in life. When you work a job that you kind of don't like, that you really don't like, but use the money you make from that job to provide, that's a reward. And something I do want to point out is, it is a very big thing for people to be hired some days. It really is. And the reason why I bring that up is you might get hired for a job you don't like, and you might be like, wow, I hate this job, I want to go to something different, I can easily find another one tomorrow. And that may be true, but then your job right now, some people are very, very thankful to have, because they may not have, I mean, there's opportunities everywhere and there's jobs everywhere, but the story of how they got that job is so important to them that that's how they consider it a reward. And they don't really have much where else to go, especially if they like what they do. But this is what the author has to say about being rewarded. So listen to this. Just listen to this. Rewarded by society for giving it what it wants and doesn't know how to get elsewhere. A lot of people think you can go to school and study for how to make money, but the reality is there is no skill called business. Listen to that. There's no skill called business. Think about what product or service society wants, but does not yet know how to get. You want to become the person who delivers it at scale. That is really the challenge of how to make money. Now, the problem is becoming good at whatever it is. It moves around from generation to generation, but a lot of it happens to be in technology. You are waiting for your moment when something emerges in the world. They need a skill set, and you're uniquely qualified. You build your brand in the meantime on Twitter and YouTube, and by giving away free work, you make a name for yourself. And you take some risk in the process when it is time to move, so with the leverage. The maximum leverage possible. There are three broad classes of leverage. One form of leverage is labor. Other humans working for you. It is the oldest form of leverage, and actually not a great one in the modern world. I would argue this is the worst form of leverage that you could possibly use. Managing other people is incredibly messy. It requires tremendous leadership skills. You're one short hop from a mutiny or getting eaten or torn apart by the mob. Money is good as a form of leverage. It means every time you make a decision, you multiply it with money. Capital is a trickier form of leverage to use. It's more modern. It's the one that people have used to get famously wealthy in the last century. It's probably been the dominant form of leverage in the last century. You can see this by looking for the richest people. It's bankers, politicians, and corrupt countries who print money, essentially people who move large amounts of money around. If you look at the top of very large companies outside of technology companies, and many, many large old companies, the CEO job is really a financial job. It scales very, very well. If you get good at managing capital, you can manage more and more capital much more easily than you can manage more and more people. So that was a little off, but leverage on money and labor, and not only that, but you're waiting for a moment when something emerges in the world where they need a skill set and you're uniquely qualified. So that's why I like mechanics, welders, people in trades, electricians, construction workers, carpenters. You really got to think they have a specific skill set, which is why they get paid so well, and they have all the benefits with their job because of how good their skill set is. Now, I'm not saying it's hard work, but you do have to think that that is how it works. When God gives you an opportunity, and you force that opportunity and develop the skill set to do that opportunity. And not only that, but like I said, rewarded. You're a welder. You're a certified welder. You are rewarded with a job that pays you very, very well. And your reward, you might think, yeah, but my reward is I'm scared of heights, I'm working in a hot, heavy environment, there's metal all around me, I'm breathing in smoke and everything. And that might be true. But you got rewarded by having the job that pays your bills and a job where you need a specific skill set. So think about that. Now the third and final part that we have in this book, I will read though before we get to the third part, is getting rich is not just about luck. Happiness is not just a trait we are born with. So these aspirations may seem out of reach, but building wealth and being happy are skills we can learn. So what are these skills and how do we learn them? What are the principles that should guide our efforts what does progress really look like? So, honestly, you ever looked at happiness and getting rich like that, like as a skill, not as a trait, not as a something you're born with or a genetic thing, just a skill? I never saw happiness as a skill. That's a big one. Because it does take some talent to make yourself happy, because honestly, it's like being an actor, the example I use. If you're really happy being an actor, that's great, but you have to work really hard to get roles, to learn more acting for years and years, and you just have to continue to stay an actor and work hard to be an actor in order to be happy. And having a wife and kids, well, you gotta meet a girl, you have to marry her, and then you have kids, and then hopefully she's a good one, and then, yeah, you have to work for it. And you have to develop a skill as to how to talk to this girl, how to learn how to act, and that all revolves around skills. And I never thought of it like that until reading this book. But now the third section that we have for us today is about retirement. The day we all dream of when we do not have to get up early in the morning to go to work. The day of retirement. So listen to what the book has to say about retirement. Listen to this. Retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for an imaginary tomorrow. When today is complete in and of itself, you're retired. How do you get there? Well, one way is to have so much money saved that your passive income, without you lifting a finger, covers your burn rate. A second is you just drive your burn rate down to zero. You become a monk. A third is you're doing something you love. You enjoy it so much it's not about the money. So there are multiple ways to retirement. The way to get out of the competition trap is to be authentic, to find the thing you know how to do better than anybody. You know how to do it better because you love it, and no one can compete with you. If you love it to do it, you be authentic and then figure out how to map that to what society actually wants. Apply some leverage and put your name on it. You take the risks, but you gain the rewards. Have ownership and equity in what you're doing, and just crank it up. Did your motivation to earn money drop after you become financially independent? Yes and no. It did, in the sense that the desperation was gone. I like that. I like that. After you become financially independent, did your motivation to earn money drop? Yes and no. It did, in the sense the desperation was gone. But if anything, creating businesses and making money are now more of an art. Whether in commerce, science, or politics, history remembers the artist. Art is creativity. Art is anything done for its own sake. What are the things that are done for their own sake and there's nothing behind them? Loving somebody, creating something, playing to me, creating businesses is play. I create businesses because it's fun, because I'm into the product. So really think about that. Retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for an imaginary tomorrow. When today is complete in and of itself, you're retired. And how do you get there? You basically have a lot of money, you drive your burn rate down to zero, and the third is you're doing something you love. And that is the exact definition, in my opinion, of retirement. And the reason why I myself bring up retirement so much is because in life, we do have to work, and like Arnold said himself, like I've said multiple times in my videos, work your butt off, because there is no magic pill, especially when you're young. Young, we enjoy video games, we enjoy movies, we enjoy sleeping in, and I enjoy all of that, minus the video games. But you can't be doing, you can do this stuff, you can't be doing that stuff in your younger years. You have to work to develop skills and be happy. And not only that, but when you're young is when you have all the energy, your body is healthy, you look good. So you want to take advantage of your younger years before you reach your older years. Now, older as in, it's never too late to start anything because age is just a number, but you don't really want to be swinging a sledgehammer as a job at 50 years old. You don't want to be working on roofs. You don't want to be roofing at 50 years old. So it's kind of like you want to figure out your life as soon as possible, and you want to be able to learn how to hold a job. And it amazes me, but nowadays holding a job is a skill. You ever thought of that? Holding a job is a skill. But overall, this is a very good book. There's a lot in this book about business, about life, about work ethic, about art, solving problems. It's just a very good book, and the three guys who looked into this book, Eric, Tim, and Naval, are both very good guys to look into for podcasts, for just YouTube videos on their views and their advice on business and wealth. So I really like this book, and the takeaway for this video is develop a skill. Learn a skill. Or today, after you're done watching this video, hop on your computer or whatever and find a skill that you want to learn. Because nowadays you can learn anything you want very easily and get this free. So learn a skill today. I want to thank you all for watching. This is the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. I hope you all have a great day. And I'm going to start saying, I hope you all work hard today. Thank you.